Let's start with our split command. And so we're going to split Bugs Bunny Warner Brothers apart. We say equals split, and then we say cell A1. And this time, rather than using a space, we see that it's semicolon. We say whenever we find a semicolon, we want to split apart. So we split and we get Bugs Bunny Warner Brothers. And then we pull that formula down and we split apart everything. Now I've hid some of the columns, and now we're just looking at B, C, and E. I'm going to add a column F. So let's say that we want to put this all together into a sentence. So we'll say equals concatenate. So we put them together. And what do we want to concatenate? Well, we want what's in B1 and what's in C1 and what's in E1. We concatenate that together and we get Bugs Bunny makes me laugh. Okay, and so, as so often happens, our first attempt is okay, but it's not perfect. And what we want to do is add some spaces in between. So we say, okay, we're going to concatenate Bugs in B1 and then a space and a comma. So we say, let's try that, see if that works. And it does. So now we've got Bugs space Bunny, but then we'd like to add a space between Bunny and makes. So we go back to our formula and we say that must be between C1 and E1. So we add quotation marks, space, quotation marks, comma, try again, and now we're getting closer. Bugs Bunny makes me laugh. Well, because we're in school, we say, well, probably we should have a period at the end. So we add quotation marks, period, quotation marks, and now we have Bugs Bunny makes me laugh, period. Well, Bugs Bunny is a proper name, so let's see if we can capitalize Bugs. Last week we used lower, so let's see if upper works. So we try upper on B1. Upper on B1, so try that. Oh my gosh! Upper gave us all caps for Bugs. And so we could go look, and when you look up about upper, you find out that there's another variation called proper. Okay? And so upper means all uppercase, but proper means capitalized. So we try that, and we get Bugs. Okay, so now try it with Bunny. So we want to do a proper on the value in C1. So we proper around C1, and we've got now Bugs Bunny makes me laugh. And so we pull that down, and we get our set of phrases. Okay, and so not bad, but let's see if we can do something a little bit more with that, and we'll try and to randomly create these phrases and link them up, so it isn't always the same thing each time. And I think we also have to work a little bit on Porky Pig there. Okay, so I'm going to hide column F. So I think it's a right click on Windows and it's a control click on Mac. So I'm going to hide that column. Okay. And I'm going to add a new column. So I did it in the wrong order. So I think I have to do control to get it back. All right. So I want to do a new column next to it. So I'm going to insert one right over here. And Bugs Bunny makes me laugh. We can hide that. So I'm going to hide that. Okay, so now I want to show you a command called address. Okay? And this is a strange one in that if I say address 1, 2, it then does B, which is the second letter, and 1. So it does first. So when I said 1 comma 2, I got the row 1, and then I got column 2. So let's try it again. Let's say, what do we say? Equals address 3 comma 6. So that should be the 6th letter, row 3, 6th letter. Let's see what we get. Yes, we get 6th letter F and 3. And so we can use this to tell the command, where do I want to look for my phrase? Well, now we have to introduce the concept of randomness. So if you look at this command, randbetween, so let's say randbetween 1 comma 5. So I say randbetween 1 comma 5, and I got a 4. What if we pull that down? Let's see what happens. So we take that formula and we do randbetween, and you can see we get 4, 1, 4, 3, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 2. So we get numbers between 5 and 2. So now the idea is we're going to combine the address command and the randbetween command. So we're going to always want to go to column E. So E, A, B, C, D, E is 5. It's the 5th row. So we're going to say we want to do the address command 5, but we want to then we want to have between addresses between E1 and E5. So let's take a look. So we'll say equals address. So we want the address, and the first thing is the row. So the row will be rand between. So some random number between 1 comma 12. So we have 12 sayings, and we always want it to be column E. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's see. So we should get E something between 1 and 12. And we got E6. Okay, so now let's pull that down. Pull that down, and we get this random sampling of things. Okay, so we'll make this a little bit smaller. And now, let's add a column. So we insert a column to the right. We're going to make this wider. And so what we want to do now is we want to concatenate. We're going to say equals concatenate. But this time, and what do we want to do? So we want to do a proper on B1. So that'll get us capital bugs, comma. Remember our space. So we do quotes, space, quotes, comma. And we want to do a proper on C1, comma, quotes, space, quotes. And now we want to do one of these phrases, but instead of just doing E1, we'll take what's in G. So we'll take whatever is next to me, and it'll be that address. So we'll say take the contents of G1, comma. And what else do we want to concatenate? We want to concatenate the period at the end. So let's see if that works. No, so that didn't work, right? So we concatenated and we got Bugs Bunny E7. Okay, not what we wanted. We wanted to take the contents of that and put it in there. So we'll have to work on it for a bit. Okay, so that will have to remain a challenge for you to figure out, as I haven't figured it out yet. So what we'd like to have is we'd like to have this random generate sentences that would have Roadrunner sometimes says is the best of all time, and Roadrunner sometimes would go is too silly for me. And each time you loaded the page, you got a different set. So when I reload the page now, you can see that the addresses change here, E5, E3. So each time I reload the page, it would change what we'd pick. Okay? But I'm not I'm not getting it to work, and so we'll have to leave that for you to work on, and I'll come up with a solution for next week.